The town that Stan lived in was like none where you've been. There weren't any schools, and no clocks could be seen. The kids spent their days playing chase, running races, while smiling big smiles on their big smiley faces. And Stan was no different from all of the others. You'd have thought that they all were his sisters and brothers. He was 2 parts mischief and 1 part firework, with a dance in his eyes and a skip in his smirk. He ran with the crowd, and the crowd ran with him. He didn't stand out, he just fitted right in. Then, something happened. One summer evening, he sat in his seat and watched as a cold wind wound up the old street. Curled up in the corners and round the bare branches of trees that were moved to do icy cold dances. Then, just as Stan thought it would pass on its way, the wind stopped at his window and said, "No, I'll stay." It passed through the window from its home on the street, then lay down before him like a cat at his feet. And the room went as cold as the cold, chilly toes of a man who's so cold that he can't feel his nose. The wind quietly asked him if it could come in. Then before Stan could answer, it slipped through his skin. And the chill of the wind filled him all the way up, like milk from the fridge might fill up a cup. Stan just sat still, like a little boy will, when an odd thing like this thing comes over the hill. He said to the wind, "How come I can't smile?" And the wind whispered, "Sorry, I'll just stay a while. I'm terribly tired, as I don't get much rest, because nobody wants to have me as a guest." Stan wanted to argue, but felt tired too, like his spirits were stuck to the floor with strong glue. He crept into bed and hid under the covers. His thoughts all seemed sad, so he thought of some others. But as soon as they came, the wind rolled round inside him, and the thoughts that seemed cheery fell dimly beside him. In the past he had cried when he wanted a cuddle, when he'd wanted some cake, when he fell in a puddle. But now, for the first time, Stan felt himself cry without any reason, without any why. Next morning, not knowing what else to do, Stan walked to the square like he'd normally do. The others, as usual, were jumping around, with their feet always seeming 2 feet off the ground. But Stan couldn't muster a skip or a trot. He managed a trudge, but a trot it was not. Some friends came on over to see what was wrong, and the wind rolled inside Stan like a wintry cold song. And the children stopped short, just a few steps away, feeling a chill on that hot summer's day. They backed off and left him, alone on his own. They ran off and left him, alone on his own. The days passed, the weeks passed, and the wind just stayed put. Stan's head felt like a snow globe, but for snow there was soot. Then, something else happened. As Stan sat alone in his room down the street, a glorious sunbeam came tapping its feet. It lit up the corners and lit up the branches of trees that were moved to do sunny bright dances. The sunbeam's gold brightness, well, it lit up the day, just as the wind made the day seem so grey. And just as it passed by Stan's window, it stopped, glanced inside, gasped, and then inside it hopped. It felt at Stan's forehead, it pinched where his nose is, and then, in a flash, made its quick diagnosis. "Oh, wind," it boomed merrily, lighting the room. "Isn't it time that you left? Va-va-voom?" The wind didn't argue. It gave Stanley up, like milk from the fridge being poured from a cup. "That's right," smiled the sunbeam. "Now, get out of here." And the way that he said it was cheerful and clear. The sunbeam just jumped in and took the wind's place. Then slowly an old friend returned to Stan's face. A smile kept on growing, so it only just fit. It was gone for so long that it hurt quite a bit. But Stan barely noticed. He leapt in the air while a sunbeam flashed gold beams on out through his hair. The glow glowed inside him like butter being spread right into the corners of crusty white bread. Stan bounced down the steps, taking 3 stairs in one, like a happiness bullet from a happiness gun. Ran straight to the square where the children were playing. They turned and they asked him if he would be staying. Stan flew right on in, without even answering, and set about jumping and playing and dancing. The sunbeam inside him beamed out from his eyes, so strongly that sunbeamed it lit up the skies. And Stan was so cheerful he nearly forgot, as days passed and weeks passed, his former sad lot. He ran with the crowd again, and it ran with him. He didn't stand out, he fitted right in. But, just as on hot nights, just sometimes you will turn over your pillow to enjoy the chill, so Stan sometimes tired of leaping around and thought about where the cold wind could be found. Broke off from the others, looked down back streets and alleys as though he were climbing up hills and down valleys. And finally he'd find it, alone in the rain, and let it curl round him. Just once, not again. It wrapped round young Stan like a cloak of soft silk, filled him up like a cup of delicious cold milk. Then the sunbeam said, "Come." The wind drifted away. Stan smiled at it softly, then set off to play. And of all of his friends, he jumped highest of all, ran fastest, laughed longest, felt 16 feet tall. And that's how we'll leave him, our little boy Stan, feeling as glad as a little boy can. His story is closing, this tale of a boy who had to know sad before he really knew joy.